Welcome to topic 1.2. We're going to start talking about opportunity cost and trade-offs. Yay. So our objectives are going to be to identify why every decision involves a trade-off. What is opportunity cost? And then we're going to talk about how you make decisions by thinking at the margin. And I get it. You're probably going, but once we talk about it, you're going to realize you've been doing this all along. So trade-off. Most of you get this one. It's the act of giving up one benefit in order to gain another greater benefit. We have to do this all the time. Like, are you going to work so that you get money? Nobody really wants to work. There's so many things I could be doing if I didn't need money. I'd be doing something, but we work to gain money. Guns or butter. This was a political phrase that was used especially during World War II, that a country will have to decide when they're at a war, are they going to produce military goods or are they going to produce consumer goods? Through the whole COVID-19, we actually had a scenario like this where the country had to decide, make PPE equipment or consumer goods. And that's why there's a shortage in certain items, because businesses resorted to making PPE equipment. But when it's guns or guns versus butter, then that is where you've decided, the country's decided that we need to produce more military goods and sacrifice some of those consumer goods. If it's butter versus guns, then the decision's made to do consumer goods versus military. Like right now, we're not needing to produce as much military stuff. We're not in a war, as if we were in a war. Opportunity cost. This is the most desirable alternative given as a result of the decision. Okay. I am going to do a different screen here so that I can actually show you what I'm talking about. So if I asked you, what would you be doing right now other than this video? Okay. One of you would probably say, oh, well, first thing I'd be doing is sleeping. Ooh. Help if I can spell. If I said, well, if you couldn't sleep, what would you do? Watch TV. Well, if you can't sleep and you can't watch TV, what would you do? Work. Work. Well, if you can't sleep, can't watch TV, and you can't work, what are you going to do? I don't know. Hang out with friends. And this list can keep going. Okay. However, your opportunity cost is the number one thing you would be doing. There's only one opportunity cost with every decision, because it is the next best alternative. If you're not sitting here watching this video, if the first thing you'd be doing is sleeping, that's the opportunity cost. You are giving up sleeping to watch this video. And thank you for that, by the way. Okay, a lot of people get confused and they think there's more than one. There's not. There's only one opportunity cost. One. So now let's talk about thinking at the margin. When you're thinking at the margin, this is the decision to have one additional unit. And I hope you always eat before my videos, because I like to use food. It makes you hungry. So pizza. Let's take pizza. If you are buying pizza by the slice and you buy 2 slices, okay, and you eat it and you're like, still a little hungry. Do I want one more piece? You're thinking at the margin, okay? Do you need one more additional piece? Because sometimes people will eat and they'll go, oh, I don't want any more. I'm full. It'll make me sick. You're thinking at the margin. Cost benefit analysis. This is where you compare what you're going to sacrifice and what you're going to gain. If you're working a job, you are sacrificing time you could be with your family, with your friends, playing video games, playing a sport for that money. And I know a lot of times, like with my kids, because they played a sport, they'd be like, I'm giving up having a job where I could have money. Marginal cost. This is the cost of adding one additional unit. So let's go back to the pizza. Do I want another piece of pizza? Yes. How much is it going to cost for that one slice? $3. That's my marginal cost. Now, if we talk about marginal benefit, Ooh, if I eat that one additional unit of pizza, what's it going to do? I'm going to be satisfied. I'm not going to be hungry, and maybe I can wait to eat till dinner. I'm not going to need a snack in between. And one of the things I want to point out here right now, marginal, this word here, I want you to convert this to memory. Marginal means extra. Means extra. So what is the extra cost? What is the extra benefit of one additional unit? You're going to see marginal a lot throughout this course. And again, substitute the word extra and it makes sense. Now, I love this scenario. So let's just say you're cleaning your room and a friend calls and says, ooh, there's a party. Do you stay or do you go? And usually it's split down the middle of the classroom. I can tell you what I would do. I would go. I do not like to clean. I am not one of those people. I did not get that gene. I don't need much of an excuse to get me to drop cleaning. But I have other people that it gives them high anxiety if things aren't orderly, and oh no, I can't leave and come back to a messy room. I wouldn't enjoy myself because I'm worried about the room. They might stay and get their room clean and then go so they have a more enjoyable time. We're all going to make different decisions. We're not a cookie cutter. We're going to make things based on our point of view. And everybody makes decisions. We've got individuals, we have businesses, we have government. When governments change hands, all of a sudden now you've got new government decisions. People also choose to volunteer. And you might say, well, there's no sacrifice there. Well, yeah, there is. They're giving at the cost of their time when they could be at home. They could be working a job and making money. But when we talk about the cost benefit, it feels really good to help people. Feels really good. And like sometimes you volunteer because maybe like here, gardening. You get to show people how to garden and you just love gardening yourself. So huge benefit there. Now, when we talk about the opportunity cost, again, as I said before, there's only one opportunity cost, and it's the number one most desirable thing that you want to be doing. Now, something that's interesting too is if I said, well, I'm making the video. If you weren't watching the video and I wasn't making it, what would we be doing? We can have completely different opportunity costs. What your number one is can be different from mine, can be different from your friends, your mom, your dad, every other human being on the planet. We all have different opportunity costs, and it could be for the exact same thing. Going to work, what's your number one opportunity cost? We can all have something different. Take this example here. You got a farmer, okay? If producing squash is more profitable than broccoli, and they switch over to squash, then their opportunity cost is they could have been producing broccoli. Or if they're producing broccoli right now, their opportunity cost is I could have been producing squash and making more money. And hopefully now you're sitting here going, oh, I do this all the time. Yeah. If I'm not working, I could be playing with my friends. If I've got free time, I could be working and making money. Now, here's another YouTube video I want you to pause and I want you to watch because it's really, really good about explaining opportunity costs. One of the things you're probably deciding right now is going to college worth it? This is a huge decision because the cost of colleges it hadn't even doubled, it hadn't even tripled, it's quadrupled. Y'all know where I went. I went to the University of Tennessee. I still have my canceled check that I wrote as a freshman. It was $2,496 for one semester, tuition, room and board, and meal plan. The only thing it didn't cover was my spending, like just going out spending, and books. It's now almost $24,000 a year for all of that. It's a huge increase. And not only that, but trade skill, blue collar jobs are paying really, really well. Some of them are paying more than college degree jobs. Take my job, for example. I'm a school teacher. My best friend is a hairdresser and she makes more money than I do. So that's a decision to make. Is it going to be worth it? And the opportunity cost, like if you go to college, you're putting off working for 4 years. If you go to work right now, you're putting off going to college. Now this, I'll be honest, people make a decision-making grid. I've never made one in my life. Now I have done the pros and the cons to help me make a decision. But most people don't necessarily put in all their opportunity costs. So if we look here, if Karen is trying to decide, does she want to sleep late or study? If she sleeps late, you can see the benefits and the benefits that they lose. Like she sleeps late, that might mean a worse grade on a test. Okay. If she wakes up early to study, she might get a better grade on the test. She'll lose the ability to sleep more. And so if we look at this, if she decides to sleep late, she's going to lose her opportunity cost is that extra study time. If she decides to wake up early and study, she's going to lose that extra sleep time. Now, economists look at this. When they look at decisions, they will also point out one more characteristic in addition to opportunity costs. And that's when we're thinking at the margin. If one more unit, if we add or subtract 1 unit, what's going to happen? And that could be like when I owned my own business. What would it be if my employee worked 1 more hour? It could be work an additional day, work an additional shift. I'm thinking at the margin there, okay? Or if I'm thinking, what if I cut back 1 instructor? Thinking at the margin. What if I have them all cut back 1 hour a day? Thinking at the margin. And when we think at the margin, we look at analyzing the cost and benefits. What's that going to happen? And that's going to help us decide this. Here's a great example for thinking at the margin. Okay. Marginal cost. What does marginal mean? Extra costs. So this is a toy company. And when they first start up and we're doing units of, 1,000 toys? Yes, units of 1,000 toys. So when they produce that first set of 1,000 toys, they've got $8,000 worth of equipment that they've got to pay because they need the machines to make the toys. Their variable cost is going to be $2,000 in materials and labor. So that's how much it's going to cost for the materials for 1,000 toys and labor to produce 1,000 toys. So when we look at this, that's $10,000 total cost for the first 1,000 toys. If we divide that by 1,000 toys, it's $10 a toy. Well, what if this toy isn't worth $10 on the retail market? Or if it's only worth $12, it's a $2 profit. That stinks. Probably not going to produce them. But I need to think at the margin. If I produce an extra unit of 1,000 toys, okay, I've already covered, not that one, this one. I've already covered that $8,000 for the machinery. It's already paid for. I don't have to pay it again for the second 1,000. All I'm really going to have is this $2,000. So the cost for that second unit of 1,000 toys is only $2,000. That's a per unit cost of $2 a toy. It's worth it for me to produce those extra toys. Because if the toy sells around $10 a toy, I might not make any on the first 1,000, pays off my machinery, but I'm making $8 a toy on the second 1,000. Here's another way to think at the margin. First extra hour of study time, you might get a C on the test, but you lose an hour of sleep. Second hour, B, and so on. I don't know if you're like me. I look at this and go, I can't study for 3 hours, period. Yeah, anything past an hour, I'm done. But again, a lot of you make decisions weighing the pros and the cons. And that is the end of 1.2. I hope you enjoyed it. Get your homework done, and I'll see you for the next lesson.